Welcome to this explainer. I'm genuinely thrilled to guide you through what is, honestly, the most pivotal chapter in any enterprise transformation. Phase B of the TOGAF architecture development method. If your organization is just kicking off its TOGAF journey, consider this business architecture phase your ground zero. Today, we're going to unpack a real success story. We're looking at how a team takes a raw, high-level strategic vision and methodically turns it into a totally actionable blueprint. All right, let's get started.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the roadmap for our journey today. First, the business architecture vision. Second, gathering essential inputs. Third, the 9 critical steps. Fourth, essential business modeling techniques. And finally, delivering architecture outputs.
Section 1. The Business Architecture Vision, setting the stage for transformation.
Now, you might already know that the TOGAF standard is actually made up of 6 independent documents, but the absolute beating heart of the whole thing, it's the ADM cycle. And right in the middle is our focus for today, Phase B. Imagine your team has just emerged from the preliminary phases with a really ambitious high-level vision. The quest now is to figure out exactly how the enterprise literally needs to operate to achieve those grand goals.
And I want to pause here because this is an absolutely crucial point. A rock-solid understanding of business architecture is a strict prerequisite for work in any other domain. You simply cannot touch data, application, or technology architecture without conquering this step first. For teams who are completely new to enterprise architecture, this is for sure your biggest benefit. Getting Phase B right prevents a ton of expensive guesswork later on, and it proves the actual business value of all the technical work that's going to follow.
Section 2. Gathering essential inputs. The foundation of our quest.
Well, before our architecture team can venture into the deep analytical work, they need to gather their essential inputs. Think of these as the maps and tools for the journey. We've got the request for architecture work, business principles, capability assessments, and the statement of work. But here is a huge pro tip if you're just starting out. You rarely have to invent all of this from scratch. You can lean heavily on the TOGAF library. It's this massive repository of pre-existing industry reference models and guidelines that will drastically accelerate your project.
Section 3. The 9 critical steps executing the transformation sequence. So the real execution begins with these 4 initial steps. In Step 1, the team carefully selects their reference models and tools. Step 2 requires a very honest look in the mirror to develop the baseline architecture, essentially exactly where the business stands today. Step 3 is where we map out the dream state, the target architecture. And Step 4, that's the crucial gap analysis, where we figure out exactly what's missing between our today and our tomorrow.
And this brilliantly illustrates the heart of our transformation story. Your baseline captures your current capabilities, what you can do right now. Meanwhile, the target shows how the enterprise must operate to respond to those big strategic drivers. The gap between them is where the actual hard work lives. But for beginners, keep this in mind. You don't have to close this massive gap overnight. In fact, incremental adoption, bridging this divide in manageable, iterative phases, is often the real secret to lasting success.
With those gaps identified, the team has to move fast to define the roadmap. Week 1 is all about drafting candidate components based directly on the gaps we just found. Week 2 resolves the ripple effects, the impacts across the wider architecture landscape. Week 3 is absolutely vital. That's the formal stakeholder review, where you secure that essential buy-in. Week 4 finalizes the architecture, and Week 5 bundles everything up into the ultimate architecture definition document.
Section 4. Essential business modeling techniques. Tools to conquer the gaps.
Okay, let's look at the specific tools used to bridge those gaps. First up is business capability mapping. This breaks down the core abilities your organization needs to actually deliver value. A highly effective technique to use here is heat mapping. Imagine looking at a dashboard. Green areas mean your capabilities are healthy and mature, while red areas act like glaring warning lights, exposing those crucial gaps that demand your immediate attention and resources.
Next up, we have value stream mapping. Now, if capabilities show what a business needs to do, value streams reveal how the organization actually goes about delivering that value to its stakeholders. It's an end-to-end breakdown of activities, and it provides the vital context for why those capabilities even exist in the first place.
Now, what's really interesting about organization mapping is that it is far more than just a rigid, standard HR hierarchy chart. It's a dynamic web. It maps out the true network of relationships and interactions between business units, outside partners, and third parties. It tells the architecture team exactly who they need to talk to and exactly who is going to be impacted by any strategic changes. Rounding out our core tools is information mapping. This is all about collecting the key concepts that matter most to your specific business, things like customer, product, or factory, and linking them directly back to your business capabilities. Nailing this step perfectly sets the stage for the data architecture phases that are going to come up later in the cycle.
To make that information mapping highly specific, teams often use formal structures like a UML business class diagram. This helps map out precise relationships, like connecting a customer to their various billing or shipping addresses. And using standard modeling like this ensures everyone across the entire enterprise is speaking the exact same language, long before a single line of code is ever written. This is also super helpful if you are merging existing frameworks into the TOGAF standard. Section 5. Delivering architecture outputs, the resolution. So, after all that hard work, these are the ultimate trophies of Phase B. You've got the draft architecture definition document, your formally approved architectures, and your documented gap analysis. Listen, these aren't just mere documents to be filed away in some folder. They're your strategic blueprints. They act as a universal translator, empowering and directing all of the subsequent IT, data, and technical initiatives that will follow.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Does your current business architecture truly align with your strategic vision? Or is it time to map a new target? Understanding how your enterprise actually operates isn't just a one-time event. It's a continuous, constantly evolving journey. I hope this structured walkthrough empowers you and your team to take that vital next step. Thanks so much for learning with us today.